Welcome. Today we're in Jerom, Omni, and Words of Mormon. And to begin, we are just going to jump right into going on your hands and knees into all fours. And we're just going to do a couple of cat and cows as we just come to our breath. Inhale, look up. Exhale, chin to chest, gaze back. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Do a couple more. Okay, from here, on your next inhale, we're just going to come to a flat neutral spine. Inhale here. And then exhale, come down into child's pose. So that's bringing our knees a little bit wider than our hips and bringing our hips back onto our heels. And we're reaching forward. And then breathe a couple breaths here. Lengthen that spine. Just feel that spine kind of deepen and relax in this pose. And exhale, and then on your inhale, come back up to fours. Just keep your knees a little bit wider than your hips. So come back up, inhale, and exhale back down. Inhale up, exhale down. Inhale up, exhale down. And just keep that going for a minute. This really kind of opens the hips a little bit. It also kind of just wakes up that spine. We're linking our breath to our movement right away. So keep going up and down for a couple breaths, okay? And we're going to start in the book of Jerom. So this is Enos's son. Basically, Jerom talks about how the Nephites have been keeping the commandments and looking forward to the coming of Christ, and they're really, really righteous, and they prosper. Okay, right here, let's come down to our stomachs and bring your palms underneath your shoulders onto the ground. And from here, just lift the chest up and then gaze up. You'll feel that spine really waking up right here, especially if you haven't done any yoga yet today. You'll really feel that spine. So just take it gentle. Come back down on your exhale. Inhale, come up. Exhale, come down. Inhale, come up. If you want a little bit more of some arm muscle work, then relax your whole body. Don't lift up with your back muscles as much, but let it all kind of fall into your arms and do some tricep push-ups. So wherever you are, inhale, exhale, take a couple breaths. In 11, verse 11 and 12, it talks about how there is this promise to the Nephites on how if they keep the commandments, they will prosper according to the Lord. And they have felt that, and they have done that, and they have seen that. And they've seen it come to pass. And verse 12, and it came to pass that by so doing, they kept them from being destroyed upon the face of the land. They did prick their hearts with the word, continually stirring them up unto repentance. So because they have kept being so good and so prosperous, they just keep doing what they're doing, and they're doing great. Okay, from here we're going to bring both of our arms, I'm going to scoot this way a little bit, both of our arms out to the side of us, okay? And we're going to lean to our right side. So inhale here, and on your exhale, you're just going to lift that left hip, lift the left arm, and just really feel your shoulder blades kind of come together. It's a pretty deep stretch. You can also bend your left knee if you would like. It gives you a little bit more support. And exhale, come back down. And then we're going to go to the other side. So lift the right hip up. Right arm goes back. If you want to bend that knee, you can. Kind of give you some stability there. And come back down. Now we're going to bring our palms underneath our shoulders one more time, lift up, come back into all fours, and come back into cat and cow. And you'll feel the difference in this pose from the very first time we did this. So inhale up, exhale down. And just from those little poses that we did in between to wake up that spine just a little bit, you can feel the difference. You can feel the flexibility in your spine. That's why you never want to do a random yoga pose without really stretching those muscles and waking them up. Because you notice how much of a difference it makes just doing a couple. It's really, really good for those muscles to just warm up a little bit. And then that's the end of Jerom. And then it goes into Omni. And in Omni, these plates get passed around quite a bit. Okay, inhale the right arm all the way up to the ceiling. Feel a gentle little twist here. Engage that core. And on your exhale, you're going to bring it through the left arm and the left thigh. And bring your shoulder down to the ground. This is called threading the needle. And again, just feel those shoulder blades. We're waking up the shoulders a lot. Omni is the son of Jerom. And he talks just a little bit about how the Nephites and the Lamanites have been enemies and they fought for a little bit, and how much time has gone past. And then he just hands it right back to Amaron. Bring up. So now the book gets passed to Amaron, which is Omni's son. And he talks for a little bit about the Nephites and what they've been through. And then he passes it to my brother Chemish. Now bring your left arm all the way up to the ceiling. So his brother Chemish, and he writes a little bit. And then it gets passed to Abinadom, and he's the son of Chemish. And then it gets passed to Amaleki, the son of Abinadom. And then he kind of talks a little bit, which we'll talk about what he writes. Inhale up, and then exhale, thread it through the needle. And just relax your head to the ground. Amaleki talks a little bit about Mosiah, and who was king over the land of Zarahemla. And he was also warned of the same thing. If you keep the commandments and hearken to the voice of the Lord, ye shall prosper. And he did. And so they kept being righteous and they kept going. Okay, come on up. We are going to bring our legs right by our hands, come into a seated position, and then just roll right onto your back. From here, you're going to lift your legs to the sky and just stay here for a moment. This pose is super duper good for just bringing the blood back to the heart. It's really good for energy, for stress. It reduces stress a lot in the body by just bringing some good energy to all of, or oxygen to all of your cells. It's also a really good one if you can't sleep. So stay here for just a moment. So they are being led through the wilderness by the power of God. And they come down into the land, which is called the land of Zarahemla. I'm in verse 13. And then in verse 14, and they discovered a people who were called the people of Zarahemla. And they rejoiced, and great was the rejoicing. They were so happy that they found these people because they realized that they are righteous too and they follow God. And they also realized that they came out of Jerusalem as well. So all these people have so much in common. And they joined forces, and they all journey in the wilderness together, verse 16. And then they were brought by the hand of the Lord to cross the great waters, where they then discovered Mosiah. So we're going to lift our hips and bring our hands underneath our hips, okay? If you don't want to go this far, I will give you some modifications. So if you're able to, lift your hips and just bring your hands underneath your hips like a tripod. See how my weight is in my shoulder, my elbow, and my hips, right? And you're just supporting your legs. So you can come here. A modification, if you don't want to come up that high, you can always just slide your hands underneath your hips this way. And it just lifts them just a tad, just enough to get your hips a little bit higher. And then if you want to go a little bit further, you can bring your palms to your hips and just go as high as you want or as you need to, or come just up on your fingertips like this. It's totally up to you. So they all unite together, and they all receive this gift and power of God because they're together and they're large in numbers. And then Coriantumr was discovered, and he dwelt with them for 9 moons. So then Amalekite was born in the days of Mosiah, and it says, I have lived to see his death, and Benjamin, his son, reigneth in his stead. So he kind of talks about King Benjamin. From here, let's bend our knees, and just bring your knees to your forehead very slowly. Engage your core a ton right here. You're just wringing everything out. Support your back, your lower back, and your hips. It shouldn't be a super hard pose to be balancing in. It is a little bit uncomfortable because all of your weight is up, in your neck and shoulders. You're engaging the core so much to just bring those knees inward. Breathe here. Whenever you're ready, lift your feet up to the ceiling, straighten out your knees, and slowly bring one vertebrae of the spine back down to the ground. And then slowly bring your feet back down and breathe. Take a couple breaths. Let's bring our legs down straight and just neutralize that spine. Take a couple breaths, just laying here for a minute. So he talks a little bit about King Benjamin. And in 26, I loved this verse. It says, And now, my beloved brethren, I would that ye should come unto Christ, who is the Holy One of Israel, and partake of his salvation, and the power of his redemption. Yea, come unto him and offer your whole souls as an offering unto him, and continue in fasting and prayer, and endure to the end. And as the Lord liveth, ye will be saved. Come unto Christ and give your entire soul to him. That's so cool. We are going to bend the knees, bring our feet in towards our hips. On our next inhale, you're going to lift the hips and just bring your hands interlocked, interlaced with each other underneath so that your shoulder blades are coming together. And it gives you a little bit more of a support to lift those hips. So we're just going to counteract that by bringing the spine the other direction for a little bit. I did a glute class this morning just here at my home, and I could definitely feel it. Okay, and come back down. Bring your knees into your chest. Give yourself a big hug. Wrap your arms around your legs and rock side to side. Feel that lower back. Get a little bit of a massage naturally. How many times do we give our whole soul unto Christ? It's so beautiful. Okay, from here, bring both of your knees to the right side. We want our shoulder blades to stay on the ground. If you want deeper twist, look to the left or the opposite side of your knees. And then we come into the words of Mormon. And this is where Mormon is told by God to take these two records of plates and combine them. He combines the plates from Nephi into these plates from Jacob to where we are now. And then he speaks a little bit in verse 3. For after I had made an abridgment from the plates of Nephi down to the reign of this King Benjamin, okay, bring your knees to center and then come to the other side. Of whom Amalekite spake, I searched among the records which have been delivered in my hands. So he basically just studied them, and then he says, I have some things to say. And basically talks about how the prophets are choice unto these people. And they're there for a reason. And verse 7, I do this for a wise purpose. Thus it whispereth me, according to the workings of the Spirit of the Lord which is in me. And I do not know all the things, but the Lord does. and he will work with me to do according to his will. He will work in me, which I love, love, love that. And Emily Belfreeman from Don't Miss This talks about that word worketh, and I just wanted to include that in here as well. And she says, worketh in the Greek translation means energio, and the definition of that is to be active in, to be mighty in, and to show himself in. So if we read that again, it says, which are to come. So I don't know everything, but the Lord does. Okay, roll up into a seated position. I don't know everything, but the Lord does, which are to come. Wherefore, God is active in me, he's mighty in me, and he shows himself within me. I love that so much. And I think so many times we have met people and they'll, you can probably think of somebody right now who you have met who really encompasses this, who really encompasses that the Lord works within them. And you can see it and you can feel it whenever you're around them. And how cool is that to just, I have a goal of just being that kind of person where the light is just in me, it worketh in me, that light of Christ. And then he finishes his records by acknowledging Nephi and understanding and acknowledging God. And I, Mormon, pray to God that these records might be preserved. And then he talks a little bit more about King Benjamin and how there was a little bit of contention there. False preachers and teachers among the people, and all these had been punished according to their crimes. So some things happened. Behold, it came to pass that King Benjamin, with the assistance of the holy prophets who were among his people, King Benjamin was a holy man, and he reigned over his people in righteousness. And then again, he mentions this whole soul, and he says in verse 18, with the help of these, King Benjamin labored with might, and he gave his whole soul to Christ and God. And because he gave his whole soul to God, his people did prosper even through contention and hardships and trials. And I just want to leave that with you, that I really believe that when we give our whole soul to Christ and to God in our own life, we will prosper, our family will prosper. Take a couple breaths and just release all the tension. Inhale and exhale. So just wake up, give yourself some love, give yourself some movement and some breath. Just for a little bit, come to the scriptures with me before you even start your day. And I promise your day will be brighter. The light in me honors and loves the light within you. Have an amazing week this week, and I will see you next week. Namaste.